So I guess we have lots of scary things to consider now that Trump is going to be back in the White House. I don't think we should call it tinfoil hat conspiracy. We shouldn't call it panicking. We are in this now. We lost the election. Uh, there's a business term called Bayesian updating. They teach it in business school. I don't have a business degree, but I've heard about this. Bayesian updating is basically how to anticipate what a company is going to do, all right, for business purposes. And the real simplified version of this is if you want to know what a company is going to do, look at what they've always done. And I think that we have to apply this to Trump as well. You know that when he was building his Atlantic City casino, he really did try to take on an elderly woman's home with eminent domain. He wanted to expand his limousine parking lot. So he did all of these things to try and push her out. He just basically wanted to take her home. And he did this as a private citizen with a casino in Atlantic City, you know, the one that he purposely tanked and his dad had to bail him out of. So, yeah, you don't lose money at a casino unless you're laundering money, by the way. Another discussion. So the woman won in court, but Trump made her life miserable and tried to ruin her. We know that he believes in eminent domain by the government. And this came up in the 2016 debates. He believes in it for pipelines, for everything else. Now, sometimes eminent domain, which is forcibly taking a private citizen's home, their property, for the greater good, roads, bridges, hospitals, things like that. If you don't think that Trump would abuse this as president, think again. Look at what he's always done. Bayesian updating. If you want to know what Donald Trump is going to do as president, don't look at what he did necessarily when he was president first, because there were some constraints. He's running for re-election. Unfettered anything now. Nobody is in his way now. And he's now able to fill his entire administration with crooks and thugs. In fact, he seems to want to do that because he knows they'll do his bidding. They don't care. So eminent domain is something that I'm concerned about, because Trump will go in, mark my words, and I think you know this is true. He will go in and cherry pick who he's going to ruin this way. He will forcibly take our homes of those people that he considers enemies or detractors. He will do it. He will make up an excuse, and you won't get paid. This is the types of things that he did in business, and he will abuse this as president. I believe that Trump will use eminent domain to go after his perceived enemies and detractors. He can go in and simply take your home, take your property, and claim it's for the greater good. This is something I haven't heard anybody talk about, but I think we need to. I don't know how we protect ourselves from this. I don't have the answers on how to protect ourselves from anything really that Trump is going to try and do. But I think if we have this discussion, it puts us on a path for the people that are smarter than me to come up with some solutions and some suggestions. It also puts the Republican Congress on notice that they better do something about this. Remember, they have a very slim margin. For the first 100 days, it looks like the House Republicans are only going to have a 1-seat victory margin of majority in the House. So they don't have there wasn't a landslide. They don't have a mandate. They can't afford to lose more seats. So they will be more responsive to us if we are organized, know what we're doing. I don't think that we want to be caught flat-footed on this. I think we have to anticipate what Trump is going to do using that business method, Bayesian updating. If you want to look at what Trump is going to do, look at what he's always done when he was in business and completely in charge, trying to take the home of that widow, that old elderly widow in Atlantic City for a parking lot. We forget about all this Trump stuff. So if you think he's forgotten about it, no. So he believes in it for the government too. He's on record as saying so. Eminent domain for the greater good. And Trump will decide what the greater good is, and Elon Musk, and they will selectively do this to take the homes of their critics and enemies, anybody that gets in their way. So I'd like people smarter than me to come up with solutions on how we fight this. Maybe just talking about it in advance will make it harder for him to do it. Our friend Tom Capone on Facebook, and we see him on Twitter and the other places. He's head of NDLA. It's a business type of trade association. I forget what it stands for. But I saw on Facebook that he was talking about the pardon, Biden's pardon of his son, Hunter Biden, and how I think it kind of sent a chill up the spine here a little bit, because he's thinking, all right, this was a very clear and sweeping pardon that was done, not because he lied, but because circumstances had changed. He had to change his mind because he knew how dangerous this would be for his son. He knows what Trump is going to do. And this is what I found was interesting that Tom Capone said. He said, it's almost as if Joe Biden is very well aware that we have no safety nets, that no one is going to come and save us. We are on our own. We have nobody else to rely on. I suppose some Senate Republicans, but I wouldn't hold your breath. And that Biden doing this is signaling and is that he himself has accepted that it's the wild, wild west now. No one is coming to save us because he knew that nothing could save his son from Trump once Trump is in office. Trump has talked about, acts like he's joking, but putting Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad. We know that he wants to use the military against our own people. We know he wanted to shoot migrants. We know he wanted to shoot the Black Lives Matters protesters in the leg. Phasing, updating. If you want to know what someone's going to do, look at what they've always done. And we know what Trump has always done. We also know that he's a thug. I've shared with you all many times that in very early 2016, remember, he had gotten me kicked off Fox, and then he was getting me kicked off CNN. He was having me catfished. He later had me hacked. He was defaming me all over Twitter, and I didn't have the ability to protect myself because I knew about and talked openly about that super PAC he had and lied about, and a few other things. And he knew that I was onto him. And one night I got a call from somebody who's now very much a part of Trump world. I was living in New York, and it was late at night on a weeknight, like 11:30, and something had happened where I thought that Trump people now knew that I was onto them about the catfishing, and I'd identified the person. We knew what was going on. And I was told, Trump has guys in Queens that might be on their way over to harm you. I lived on the third floor of a brownstone at that time, just off Central Park on the Upper West Side. No doorman. I mean, we had cameras and security. This was in the Republican primary. I had been in some tough political situations before, but nothing like this. I knew we were dealing with an entirely different animal here. I knew he was dangerous. This was like February of 2016. Yeah. So if you don't think that he's not going to do everything he can to harm us, think again. And so our friend Tom Capone, this is what he was saying. It's almost as if Joe Biden knows nobody is coming to save us. So he's saving his son after losing 2 children and a wife, tragically. He's saving his boy. And he should, because these offenses of Hunter Biden's, he was definitely targeted. He broke the law. But to go through what he went through and have his genitals, his private stuff being put all over a congressional hearing by Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, this was going to get even worse for him. So it's not hyperbole when we talk about what Trump plans to do. I believe that he will invoke eminent domain a lot to his enemies. I believe that he will find a way to have people killed. He's talked about this openly. We keep thinking this can't happen in America. It can, and it is. It's already happened. And we're just sitting here. I don't know if Joe Biden will address the nation and tell us good luck. You guys are in trouble. I mean, his own party knifed him and pushed him out. He was a good president, one of the best we've had. But he erred with Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is not just incompetent, he is complicit. And I don't know why Joe Biden allowed that to happen, but it obviously overshadows everything good that he did, and may have resulted in the demise of individuals and obviously our democracy and our country as we've known it. You know, we failed. So I don't have the answers again to what we do to fight Trump on these things, but I'm just putting them up there. I'm kind of shooting these flares in the air because there might be some people who know how to ward this off or know how to fight it, or maybe just the awareness so that when Trump does it, you know, remember when he plans these things, he knows what's going to happen. Just like with January 6th, he knows what's going to happen. We don't. And we're caught reacting and having to come up with a strategy on the fly and like right away react because it's an emergency for us. It's a surprise attack. And I think that we need to look at everything that Trump and his goons are going to do to us as a surprise attack. So I'll come up with others that we'll talk about, or if you want to send me ideas and we can do more of these videos so that we can kind of hash this out and figure out, maybe again, somebody can figure out what to do. But I have to think that there are some patriotic or decent, relatively decent, at least not completely sold out Republican senators, maybe some in the House, that understand what's about to happen. And they might be able to stop him, because if they don't, they will be next. And if Elon Musk just threatening them with primarying them, getting them out of office, well, maybe they don't want to be. There might be some decent people who are like, okay, but while I'm here, I'm going to save my country. You know, I'd like to think there are at least some, and it's not going to take that many. It won't take that many. But if they absolutely know how dangerous Trump is and could be dangerous for them. See, that's the thing. He could be dangerous to them. They might do something. But eminent domain is something to look out for, because Trump will use it against his enemies. He used it against a widow, a poor widow in Atlantic City, to try and take her house so he could, you know, raise it and then use it as a parking lot for his limousines. Limousine parking for his casino. He has said he believes in eminent domain. He will do it. He will abuse it. Never, ever, ever give this thug the benefit of the doubt. We are well past a time where that's even remotely a smart strategy or an acceptable strategy. It's basically a cop-out. So there will be Republicans who will go along with it, but all it takes is a few brave souls. And I think the earlier we address it, the better chance we have of surviving at least some of what's to come. And again, this notion that Joe Biden knows what's going to come. He can't do anything about it now. Well, actually, he could on his way out the door, but he won't. He's saving his son. He's getting out because he knows what is about to happen to this country. And at this point, he's saving himself. And we got to do that too, but we have to do what we can to stick together as well. So send me your ideas on the other things with evidence, or at least a background, that Bayesian updating thing regarding Trump that you think we need to look out for and prepare for. Remember, if you want to know what he's going to do, look at what he's always done. And I think we need to start having a real big discussion about it. So send it my way.